Hey, everybody, it's David Duford, owner of DeFord Insurance Group, where I train and recruit agents nationally to sell things like final expense Medicare and annuities, both face-to-face and over the phone. Thank you for watching. So this is a series of one-on-one consultation sessions that I'm doing to kind of help agents that are out there that watch my content or who are on my website get answers to their burning questions about anything insurance sales related. So I have Jason here. Say hello, Jason.
Hey, what's going on, David?
Yeah, doing well, man. Thanks for being here. I have Jason here because he is in the Medicare space and he's looking to basically grow his business. So, Jason, why don't you kind of take us from the top there, and then you jump in and start asking me questions, and I'll see what I can do to help.
Terrific. Yeah, I think the thing in almost any business, right, it's a matter of lead gen, right? How do we have more people to talk to?
Right.
I don't have any questions about product or anything along those lines. It really comes down to how do I double, triple, or more kind of what I'm doing currently. And that's really my main interest.
So kind of describe how your business is right now, if you don't mind. You and I were talking, you're kind of doing this like a side gig, I think is what the word you use, part-time.
Yeah. My initial focus was, doing some other things. And I said, gosh, seeing all these people around me, retired civil servants, cops, firefighters, and they have this thing called a pension. And I'm like, God, I got to create myself a pension since it's way too late to go back and get a job that will provide a pension. I said, I need to create my own pension. My goal was, certainly to create something in the, $20,000 a month range.
Okay.
And so I said, let me get into the insurance business. I focus specifically on Medicare because someone said that's a great thing to focus on, didn't know anything about it. And so that's what I've been doing, really, as I said, as a side gig, but I'm now much more interested in making this my top priority. And as such, I really just need to accelerate the growth. So, currently I'm, I get some rare leads from some of the carriers, United Healthcare, Aetna, and so forth. But that's rare that happens. Otherwise, during AEP, I've actually worked. I've had a kiosk at Walmart, which is interesting. But now I am mostly just doing my own direct mail campaigns to T65s and getting results and referrals, and that's pretty much about it. So I've gotten a couple hundred clients under my belt, and the question is, how do we get to 1,000 as quickly as possible?
Right. So yeah, we do Medicare, of course, at the DeFord Insurance Group, and kind of the goal most agents have is, Medicare pays Advantage plays $270, 1,000 clients. That means they'll get paid $270,000 a year. So that's kind of the goal, is how do you get to 1,000 clients?
Yeah.
Of course. And this is, maybe you haven't thought of this stuff, maybe you have, but this is good and useful anyway. A goal is only worth its weight if it has a deadline, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's your deadline? You want 1,000 clients. When would you like to have 1,000 clients?
Within the next, in 36 months.
36 months. Okay.
Right. And along the way, have, cross-selling opportunities. I listen to some of your things. So whether it's annuities or final expense, whatever the case may be.
Sure.
But, to be able to do that along the way.
Yeah. Right. So you've got a couple hundred, let's just say 200 for math's sake.
Mm-hmm.
So you need around, and I'm just doing the math here, 800 clients in 36 months. So if we divide 36 into 800, it's a couple hundred basically, right? 800 divided by 36. You need to do 22 policies a month. So let's, you're going to have some time off. Probably need to do about 25 to 30. That's what I would say.
Gotcha.
Plus you're going to have some lapses. People die, they quit on you, right? So you need to do about 30, let's just call it 30 new MAs a month to do that. So on a weekly basis, 30 divided by 4, about 7 or 8 policies. Now, where are you at right now, weekly production? Roughly.
I did 12 last month.
Okay.
So
2 or 3, roughly, give or take. That's kind of where we're at on a weekly
per
basis.
week. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're at a basic, you're at a gap of about, you need to fill in the gaps of about 5 policies a week, right? In order to get this in 36 months. Okay. So How many appointments are you running a week, roughly?
I mean, it's almost 100% close rate. So I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
So you're 2 or 3 appointments,
Yeah,
roughly.
yeah. I mean, I'm appointed with every carrier that offers plans here in our area, and
Okay.
so fairly likable. So when I meet someone, it's not a hard sell, right? If they're buying something
Right.
often that costs zero,
Right. Exactly.
or
Right.
somewhere not too far from there, unless they're doing a med sup, obviously, which is a different story.
Sure. Right. So your close rate's fantastic.
Yeah.
But the activity is not, and you tell me if I'm wrong, is not where it needs to be.
Nowhere near.
Right. And that's the crux here. And if you're a new agent watching this can be for Medicare, this can be for final expense. This is a numbers game.
Any sales, right?
Any sales, exactly. I don't care how technical the product is or transactional. If you don't have enough people to see and you've got a goal and what you're doing is not getting you to that goal, you're never going to get to where you want to be until you ramp up the activity, right? So that's number one. So what does this lead to? It leads to, okay, what are you going to do, Jason, to go and an activity wise to ramp it up high enough in order to hit those goals? So what have you had in mind? What were you thinking, or what questions did you have about lead generation, prospecting to get the activity level up higher?
This is where I've kind of struggled. I mean, for the most part, when I do research, what are people doing? Direct mail seems to be numero uno, and certainly I could probably accelerate that. To be candid, I really don't know what else to do.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's why we're talking here. So I'm going to kind of give you some ideas here, and I'll give you ideas. And I told Jason here, it's like, I don't want to pitch too bad or too much my own stuff, but I do have experience in the same thing you're doing. So I can give you some generalities based on what I've experienced with Medicare Advantage agents specifically. Direct mail is king. All right. I mean, if you want a really good lead source, direct mail is where it's at. You can, within a month, put yourself in front of as many prospects as you want to hit this goal. What will change for you is that now you'll not have a 100% close rate.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a good agent, you'll have a 2 out of 3 close rate.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can get, even in this example here, 20 leads a week, direct mail, which probably is going to be in the 500 a week time range or cost range, and you can get in front of 10 of those, even if you're just a good agent and close 5 of them, you're already at your weekly goal of 7 to 8. And those metrics are, I would consider, if you're a good agent. I've got an agent in my agency who, like 2 weeks ago, he bought 50 leads. He sat with 35 of them and he closed 30 policies. 2 were agent record changes, but so 28 new policies and 2 AORs. That's incredible. Now he's really good. But even if you sat down with 12 or sat down with 25 and closed 12, that's good too, right? So my point is, for me, based on what I've seen, John in this case is not the only agent that's done this. There's been lots of agents that use direct mail. That is probably the easiest way to get involved, to up your activity, to get in front of interested prospects, and to do what you do best is get in there and help people with something you know very much about.
Right.
And you can do other things, like you can do Facebook leads. There are Facebook leads out there. There are digital leads out there. But man, I just think Medicare direct mail is still where it's at.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've, pre-COVID, everything was in person, of course,
Yes.
And that's just, even kind of CMS really wanted that,
Right.
for Medicare Advantage, specifically. So I've really just focused on kind of the county that I live in.
Okay.
I'm about an hour north of New York City. And, it's actually like on dairy farms and horse farms, and it's beautiful up here, and 10 minutes from the Hudson River. So it's not, fairly populated, not crazy populated, but, right. So the one question I have is, do I need to look at other states outside of New York, and kind of how does that work remotely, via Zoom or whatever? Do you have any experience with that?
Good question. For me, I don't think you would have to, because it depends on what you're wanting to sell or lead with. If you've got good Medicare Advantage penetration in the surrounding counties and you like selling Medicare Advantage, I would just continue working locally. I think there's some kind of marketing strength by saying, "Hey, I'm local," versus,
No
"Hey,
question.
I'm in New York and you're in Texas,"
Yeah.
So, and we want every edge in our favor on any sort of marketing or any sort of business opportunity. So I think it's good to focus locally if you can. The only way that I would go out of New York is if I wanted to focus on Medicare supplements instead.
Mhm.
I don't think the sup pay up there is as good as some other states.
It's not, no.
Yeah. So if I had a penchant towards supplements, and some agents want to do more supplements and Advantage, I get it. There's
Well, it's
good reason.
easier.
Yes, exactly.
It's,
And the clients are higher quality, I think, arguably a lot of the times. And there's annuity
and
opportunities.
they don't change once they're on. It's really they stay.
Yeah. In that case, I would absolutely work out of state. We haven't had it yet, but I'm working on a course with a Medicare supplement guy that we just did an interview. You may have saw it with Eugene, and he's done Medicare for 8 years, and he does everything telephonically. He generates telemarketed leads. They're completely compliant. He does straight Medicare supplements. He might do some other stuff, but supplements is pretty much it. So, and he does that kind of same strategy. So we should have some kind of training for that soon. He's agreed to make a program. But in the meantime, I would stick around locally if you're comfortable with the Advantage approach. But supplements, I don't think make much money up there, and that's hard because the difference now is you're getting into a lead business, which means you've got to throw money out there for people who may or may not be interested. So your money's at risk,
right?
And if the profit or revenue isn't high enough to justify the investment, it just makes it that much less appealing. So.
Right.
You just have to make that decision. Which strategy do you want to lead with? Because I'm sure there's plenty of Medicare Advantage up there that you could do.
Yeah. So in terms of, do you have any resources? Do you have something, the reason I had scheduled this was looking for some answers. I thought perhaps, I know this is kind of a softball, but it was not my intention. Like, do you have
Checks in the
course?
mail.
Do you have information? Do you have, something like, so we talk about direct mail. I mean, I've been literally printing up my own letters.
Oh, really?
Oh,
wow.
Card in.
Okay.
But I've only, when I do the T65 here in my county, it's been 300 a month that I've been sending out.
That's good, man.
But the
for 8 to 10 sales, that's really good, personal letter.
But that's not from that, that's through a combination of things, so it's like, I really need to get more, I think, direct mail out. In order. So, I probably need to expand, I guess, my geography and whatever else. But in terms of content or strategy, do you have anything that you can offer? Anything you can sell me?
Yeah, of course. Let me tell you kind of how our stuff works. So on the Medicare space, we focus almost exclusively on Medicare Advantage. And one of the reasons, Jason, we do that is because most of our agents existing in our organization were final expense agents first. And 80 to 90% of your final expense clients are on Medicare Advantage. So they're a natural client to go back to. You've already done business with them. They'll do business with you again, So it's an easier transition versus if we did Medicare supplements, it's a different client than your typical final expense prospect. So we don't do much beyond, we'll write supplements, but we don't go after it purposely, if that makes sense.
Okay, gotcha.
Now, where we deviate in our most of our strategy that's different from yours is we target the special election period market.
Okay.
The reason we do that is because, first of all, I think there's more agents doing T65 in most markets than any others. And so it's very crowded with competition. Right. But a lot of people don't go after the SEP, the special election period market, because the perception is it's a low income prospect or lower quality.
So you're referring to duals? Is that what you're referring to?
We go after dual eligibles, QMBs, low income subsidy opportunities, chronic plans. And our strategy is to go in, assess what their current situation is, see if there's a special election period opportunity to then replace their, if it's the case, inferior Medicare plan. And again, my experience is nobody's going after this market nearly to the same extent. The clients really need the help because they're poor. I mean, let's face it. You know, a lot of them are making less than $1,000 a month.
Yeah, absolutely.
Surviving. They're really appreciative of it. And there's tons of final expense sales in there too. So you can cross sell other things, hospital indemnity plans as well. And we've got a great lead that specifically targets this group of people that a lot of people aren't necessarily using. And it just puts you in front of a lot of people. We also have, for our most productive agents, a lead subsidy program. And the idea behind that is if you're writing a good volume of your business, we look at your production over like 90 days. And depending on how much you actually produce as a ratio of the leads that you buy, we'll get you set up in our program to have some reduction in the cost or even full elimination of the cost. So my agent, John, for example, he doesn't pay those 50 leads. He didn't pay anything for, you know, that normally would be $1,250, but because he does so much volume, we want to cover his leads, you know, because on the agency side, we're as interested as you are. We want to build a downline of agents. Well, in other words, we want to build a passive income stream, but you've got to get agents over the hump of the investment in the leads because Medicare doesn't pay great unless you write a first time Medicare. It does then.
Yeah.
But our strategy is a lot of replacement. So we don't see it as often maybe as you do. So we subsidize those leads for that reason, just to help improve cash flow. So, and we've got tons of examples of people just killing it. We have agents. John wrote 70 policies last month. We have agents writing 400 to 600 policies a year using the strategy all across the country. It's wonderful. And that's how we answer that question like what you're having is, I like this business. I see the money potential, but I don't know how to scale my activity high enough to make it a reality in a reasonable amount of time.
Right.
That's where we kind of come in. And, you know, of course, to catch all this is that we're not in the lead business. We're in the recruiting business. And basically what we're looking for people to commit to us on the business basis to get access to all this stuff. But you can go, if you didn't work with me, you can go to Lead Concepts or Need a Lead. They've got Medicare Advantage lead programs that are similar to what we do. Response rates are decent. You know, there's lots of good mail houses out there that will automate the whole lead system for you. So you don't have to do mailers anymore.
Right.
And you just pay the price, call and set the appointments and run them like you normally do.
Right. So you are obviously you're recruiting for agents. You're an FMO.
Correct. Yes.
Right. So I don't, you know, the question of course is, you know, I have an FMO and they're nice, but they don't really do anything for me.
Right.
Can you get released from an FMO? Are they obligated to allow you to go?
Yeah. Yes. So there's two ways to be released, and this is Medicare specific. If you work for, you can ask the upline for a release. It is their option to actually release you or not. And if they release you, you can move the carriers over immediately in most cases. Now, some uplines will not release you. But with Medicare, you can go around them, go to the home office, and you can request a release at the home office level. And a certain amount of time has to pass before you'll be formally released. Some companies, it's 30 days. Some it's 6 months. Some it's 3 or 4 months. Usually it's shorter than longer between those times.
And when you say home office, you mean the carriers themselves?
The actual carrier. Yeah, exactly. And we have, you know, for example, we got a really good rep in the Medicare Advantage world who works for us. Her name is Julie. And she can kind of help you coordinate this. She's familiar with all the major carriers and the release provisions and help you get it set up. So, but yeah, sometimes that has to happen. You have to go around the FMO because they're lame and they think they own you and you got to go to the home office. But, you know, it is possible to start the releases and start moving. And we work with agents on those levels, you know, because that's just a lot of people like you, they find us about us. They didn't know about the lead programs, didn't know about the stuff, the training, et cetera. And they like our proposition, and it just, they want to move, but it takes some time and effort, and we'll work with you.
Okay. I mean, would I lose anything in the meantime?
Well, so I assume that the FMO you're part of probably has you vested, which means you own your renewals. So you should be able to move your carriers. And I would check on this before I would leave. And you can call the carriers to make sure of this, that you're vested, so that when you move your carriers to, let's say, us, and that you won't lose out on the renewal stream, because that's, of course, what makes this business most lucrative.
It's everything.
Continue get paying money, right? So I would check on that first, but usually that's the case. Are you getting paid from the carriers, or does
directly from the carriers?
You're probably okay then. It's when the companies pay you the money, like the agency or the FMO. That's when you got to worry.
Yeah.
So
and how do you work? The carriers pay your agents directly?
Yes, 100% vested.
Yeah.
Carriers pay you, will release. We've got tons of training, obviously the lead programs. I mean, we're really trying to make our agency absolutely agent focused, excuse me, because that's where the money's at, really. If you got well-trained agents that go out there and execute daily, as an agency or FMO, you're going to make plenty of money,
Right. And so the good thing is you're not actually selling a course or anything along those lines. If someone becomes a part of your agency, then all those resources are just available to them, and that's it.
Now, in case somebody's watching, you may have seen this. I have lots of business interests in the insurance industry, one of which is selling product. But what I never do is require somebody to join my agency, and then they must buy some system, right, or buy the training. So when it comes to the sales training side, so we've done sales training products out there. Those are optional. Those are partnerships I have with other organizations that we kind of just do a joint venture on. But if you don't have to buy those products to join, because all of our training's for free.
Right.
Luis has been in the business. He's our trainer on the Medicare side. He's been doing this for 2008, 2009. We do multiple training calls a week. We got group me's that you can interact with. We travel to different areas in the country to train. It's very interactive, and there's no cost to you. We only want to make money when you make money.
Sure.
That's what it comes down to. And I think that's the best and most fair relationship.
Okay. Awesome. So what would I do next?
Yeah. I mean, the next step would be, you would go to my training page, and I'll give you this after the video's over, and request contracting with the carriers. And then you'd simultaneously call up your FMO or email them and see about the release provisions in order to move your carriers over. And then I'd put you in touch with Julie to coordinate with how to move it over, what to do, if you get pushback, that kind of thing. So we can make this transition seamless, and you won't lapse your ability to write business.
Right.
So you'll continue to write for FMO, then midnight, this flip switch, and now you're with us, right? So it's not like you're going to lose out on being able to write business. Sometimes it's a concern with some people, but you'll be fine.
Gotcha. Okay, terrific. Excellent, David. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed this, and I hope my audience did too. I try not to make it too much of a pitch, guys, I promise. But this is a common thing that happens. You get into a business, you find you like it or you love it, and there's so much opportunity, especially in Medicare, to make great money, have lifestyle, have the pension idea that you're talking about. But how do you get from where you're at to where you're going? And a lot of it comes down to sales training and leads. Some people need sales training. A lot of people, like in Jason's sense, they just need a system to get in front of more people. And there's all sorts of ways to do that. We love direct mail. Of course, our organization does it. There's lots of organizations that do it. You can buy it from mail houses, but you got to have activity to win at this game at a large level, where you really make this business fun and lucrative, more than just kind of a side gig,
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's well worth it. So, Jason, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. I enjoyed it.
All right. Thank you so much, David.
See ya.
Take care.